innocent people from New Jersey also lost their lives on September 11th, and thousands more New Jersey residents answered the call to action, responding to disaster and assisting with the cleanup and reconstruction in the weeks to follow. Both Senators Lautenberg and Senator Menendez have been strong partners in our efforts to move forward on the type of legislation, and I'm honored that they're here today. Senator Menendez, would you like to make some remarks?
Thank you, Senator Gillibrand. Let me first say I appreciate being here with all of my colleagues from the House and the Senate. Senator Schumer said we have worked together side by side, understanding that as a region we are challenged in a variety of ways, and we also have opportunities in a variety of ways. And we've worked together, and my former colleagues in the House who we continue to work with, and I appreciate Mayor Bloomberg being here. I just want to specifically note the ability of Senator Gillibrand. Many of us, including myself, had elements of legislation, different parts of this. I had legislation about opening up the Victims Fund, and she has brought us together in one comprehensive bill in a unified effort, and I think it's a testament to her ability. So thank you, Senator Gillibrand. James Zadroga was a New Jerseyan who, following in the footsteps of his father Joseph, heeded the call of public service and became a police officer of the city of New York. His duty was to protect his fellow citizens. After the horrifying attacks of September 11th, Detective Zadroga heeded another call to serve not only his community but the nation in the recovery from that unspeakable tragedy. For 450 hours, the equivalent of almost 19 full days, he worked the recovery effort around Ground Zero, all the while inhaling pulverized concrete, fiberglass, asbestos, and other toxic dust particles. And he inhaled this even though the federal government said the air was clean. Helping us recover, he was developing an illness from which he could not recover. James was the first emergency responder to die directly because of the health effects of working on Ground Zero. His ordeal is a symbol of what thousands of responders have endured, and it is the reason that I named my previous legislation to reopen the Victims' Compensation Fund for responders with slower developing systems after him. It is also a fitting name for this comprehensive 9/11 health bill, which we are announcing today. Our goal with this bill is simple: to ensure that everyone exposed to the toxic air around Ground Zero is examined by an expert and that all who are sick receive treatment. We want to make it clear, fully addressing 9/11 health issues is part of our response to terrorism and should be treated as such. The toxic and deadly air inhaled by the first responders, residents, and workers in the area of Ground Zero was a direct result of the terrorist attacks. If the attacks had never occurred, these people wouldn't have developed these particular illnesses, period. As such, we have a responsibility as a nation to ensure that we care for them. Just as it was right for our first responders to rush up the stairs to save lives as the World Trade Center burned, it is right for us now to do everything we can to save those responders who became sick. We've made progress on establishing medical monitoring and treatment for 9/11 illnesses over the past few years, having gone from being virtually ignored by the previous administration to the current patchwork of treatment programs and federal funding. But the patchwork isn't good enough. We have yet to establish a comprehensive medical system for those who were exposed to the toxins around Ground Zero, and that's what we intend to do with this legislation. It has been almost 8 years since those planes hit those buildings. Think back to the days and weeks after the attacks, when it was clear to everyone that we had to do everything it took to make our nation whole again. If you told someone back then that people helping the recovery effort would get sick and their government would be slow to respond to illnesses, they wouldn't believe you. But that's where we are. The federal response was slow to get going, but we can, once and for all, ensure a strong support system for the 9/11 heroes with passage of this bill. I still remember the rallying cry, never forget. The men and women who worked with all their strength and all their hearts at Ground Zero deserve nothing less. And with this bill, we're going to show very clearly that we have not forgotten and we never will.
Thank you.